Um,
I think it's going to go live now.
all right, it's going live right this second.
I think so.
It
All
says
right,
the contents of this meeting is being sent to one or more apps.
alrighty, we are live on YouTube. Good evening, everyone. It is Friday. Yes, it is time for doctor's orders. Just another wonderful time for us to get together to love on one another and just learn some good information. If you don't know, my name is Ruth Presley. I am the nutrition boss. And I just love what I get to do every day. And the people that are on this call tonight, we love what we get to do. We are part of a healthy living community. And as you can see behind me, it is the Juice Plus community. But it goes beyond Juice Plus. We just want to help people make better decisions when it comes to their health. Juice Plus fits into that because it's clean, pure food that makes it easy, simple to get more nutrition in your body, better nutrition in your body so that your body functions better. So I'm not going to stay before you much longer because I want my good friend, my personal Dr. Google, Coach Carla, the transformation coach, to share her wisdom with us tonight.
Thank you so much, Ruthie. I am always honored to be here with you and those of you who are watching. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. As Ruth mentioned, I'm Coach Carla Joy, and part of why I'm here talking to you today is because I had a health crisis. Now, if I look back and I'm honest, I had a lot of health issues, but then I had a health crisis. And in that crisis, I chose to make the decision to try to find something else. You see, my medical education, my medical training, and being around lots of doctors and nurses and medical professionals had not protected me from developing the same conditions which are symptoms of disease: high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and prediabetes. So when that happened, I turned to friends who were being successful on their health journey, like nutrition boss Ruth and others. I wanted to know what was it that they were doing that was helping them on their health journey. As I tried different modalities, I was finally introduced to two documentaries, Forks Over Knives and the lecture by Dr. Michael Greger on uprooting the cause of disease. And here in these two documentaries, introduced by my goddaughter, my favorite physical therapist, I found a simple answer. Now, jumping into something simple is not always easy. It's like jumping into a pool. You could jump in at the deep end or you could jump in at the narrow, at the shallow end. So it's often a learning process. And since I don't know how to swim, I walked in at the narrow end of the pool and started to learn bit by bit. And finally, I was introduced to concentrated fruits and vegetables in capsules, in complete shakes, and now in the superfood that helped me on my journey. So, I'm sharing this story with you today because I want you to have hope. I want you to realize that you don't have to be, as I felt at the beginning, a helpless victim of your genetics, your culture, or your current physical health state. And here on Doctor's Orders, we talk about the six pillars of health. I get frequent questions about sleep. I don't know about you, but right now I could do with a couple more hours of sleep. Everybody needs to get enough rest. And many of us have jobs that require that we don't get the 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. Some of us work at night, and so the only time we can sleep is during the day. And some of us work so many hours that even the night sleep that we get is only a few. So I went to one of my mentors, Dr. Neil Barnard, from the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. They have a podcast called The Exam Room. And I typed in the question, what about sleep? So I'm going to share with you a few pointers about sleep. You may already know that if you want to have consistent quality sleep, that you may have to develop a sleep routine, a series of skills or habits that lead up to your bedtime. You can call it a bedtime ritual that would allow you in a smooth and seamless way to prepare for sleep on a consistent basis. So, a couple of these things would include starting the wind down process at about the same time every day, having a few things that you do consistently, maybe take a shower, maybe brush your teeth, brush your hair, read a book, gather with your family, have bedtime stories, Bible reading, prayer, something that you do together with members of your family. And maybe a ritual for getting your kids to sleep and getting yourself to sleep that also includes sleeping in a cool, darkened rooms so that the research can apply for you, because the research suggests that if we sleep in cooler, darkened rooms, that we can fall asleep more easily and we can stay asleep more easily. You may also want to prepare by having water at your bedside, because many of us become thirsty during the night, and that's one of the things that makes us wake up. You may also want to have that available to you because some people awaken to use the restroom and to urinate. And after doing that, you may want to have some more water and then go back to sleep. Those are some of the things that research suggests will make getting to sleep and staying asleep a little more consistent. In the podcast on sleep, Dr. Neil Barnard answered some questions like, what about food? Does food have an impact does the food you eat during the day have an impact on how you sleep during the night? I thought that was an interesting question. So, according to him, there was the research done at quality research done at an establishment where they discovered that eating carbohydrate rich food during the day increased the type of sleep, the quality of the sleep, and the rapidity at which you went to sleep. So, what was included with that? You would have grains and vegetables. And some people ask, well, what about sugar? Suppose somebody ate sugary foods during the day. Would that negatively impact their sleep? And they found that instead of negatively impacting the sleep, carbohydrates, apparently, they found the mechanism that having carbohydrates in your meals during the day led to the production of certain amino acids that led to other hormones that led to melatonin. And many people have heard about melatonin, so they actually try to take melatonin from the pharmacy or from their favorite vitamin store. But your body can make it. So if you eat high carbohydrate foods like potatoes or grains or even some starchy vegetables, that apparently will allow your brain to produce the melatonin that will allow you to go to sleep faster and to stay asleep longer. The researchers found that eating sugar was not an issue because it resulted in this process. So, what did negatively impact sleep? Well, foods that were high in animal protein. So, foods that were high in animal protein, if they were eaten during the day, would lead to a longer time before you actually fell asleep, and they reduced the amount of time that you spent in deep sleep, known as REM sleep, around midnight, that where your brain is integrating positive memories, positive learnings, physical skills that you've been practicing during the day, the brain is doing that integration, and it was discovered that there was a correlation between high protein foods during the day and uh, high animal protein foods during the day and lower latency and lower quality of sleep. So the other component was fat, because a lot of animal products, they come with high protein and they also come with high fat. They usually go together. So when it came to asking, well, what about high protein plant products like beans? Dr. Barnard explained that beans only have about 4% of their calories coming from protein. Even though you eat a lot of beans, you can get a significant amount of protein. And things like salmon is about 40 to 50% fat. So repeat that, beans had only about 4% of their calories from fat, whereas something like salmon had 50% of the calories from fat. So this negatively impacted sleep. What about eating later at night? Usually, according to Dr. Barnard, the body during sleep slows down the metabolism. So you'd want to reduce the amount of food you eat closer to the time of sleep. But they found that if somebody ate more calories later in the evening, that would be turned into glucose at night. And that glucose triggered that same cycle that I was telling you about, the tryptophan, serotonin, melatonin cycle. So the production of that sleep hormone, melatonin, in the brain. What about things like tomatoes and tart cherry juice? They also helped with improving the quality of sleep because they tended to contain more sugary or starchy. And wheat also seemed to be helpful as well. He was not sure quite why wheat specifically seemed to have a positive impact on sleep. One of the things that was interesting was someone asked a question about the role of dairy. And although I don't know if there's data that makes it conclusive that it's causative, but there was some indication that persistent bedwetting among kids 7, 8, 9 was associated with an increased level of dairy in the children's diet. But we have to wait for more research before we jump onto that bandwagon. What the research did find was that if people could transition into 5 cups of fruits and vegetables a day, that they could increase the quality of their sleep by 16%. Now, how did they measure quality? There was actually something that looked like a watch that went on the non-dominant hand that would be used overnight, that would send messages about the level of activity of the body during the sleep. And that was charted to give an idea of the quality and quantity of sleep that the different subjects experienced. So, what about transitioning to 5 cups of fruits and vegetables a day? According to the CDC, only about 1% of Americans get 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. And you'd be better served using, getting things like yams and sweet potatoes, because of what the data indicates, that high carbohydrate fruits and vegetables will give you better quality sleep. So keep that in mind. Eating your vegetables, your fruits and vegetables. And we'll come back to how can we transition into eating more fruits and vegetables. I'm glad you asked. We'll talk about that in a moment. But before we do, Dr. Barnard had two other specific things to talk about with sleep. One had to do with caffeine, and the other had to do with alcohol. In both cases, he said that people differ, and the types of enzymes in our liver or other parts of our digestive system that break down caffeine and alcohol can be different. So, some people could be fast metabolizers and others could be slow metabolizers. Let me explain. There are enzymes in the liver that can break down caffeine. If a person has what is known as a slow metabolizer, then 10 hours after your cup of coffee, you may still have a significant fraction of caffeine floating around in your blood. A fast metabolizer, then within the first hour, 3, 4 hours, maybe 6 hours, that caffeine would have been broken down completely, and there would be very little caffeine left in the blood. So, take a fast metabolizer and a slow metabolizer. They may drink their coffee at, say, 10 o'clock in the morning. 12 hours later, 10 o'clock at night, the fast metabolizers not have any caffeine in their blood and they fall asleep. The slow metabolizer may still have significant amount of coffee, maybe even as much as quarter of the coffee, according to Dr. Barnard's reference article, so that you can find that person may have difficulty falling asleep. But what about kids? Lots of kids don't even drink coffee, but they may have caffeinated sodas. And some caffeinated sodas have the equivalence of a cup of coffee. And because they are children, their body ratio to the amount of coffee can negatively impact the effect of the coffee, whether they're fast or slow metabolizers. It can negatively impact the effect on the children. And Dr. Barnard theorized, based on some studies, that if the caffeine was combined with sugar, that together they would have an even greater negative impact on sleep. What about alcohol? Alcohol, many people have found that it seems to have a relaxing effect when taken after a meal or in the evening. He explained that alcohol is broken down in the liver and produces something called an aldehyde. Although the alcohol itself may have a relaxing, calming, and maybe a somnolent effect, may allow people to go to sleep, the the aldehyde that is produced from the breakdown products is a stimulant and can cause people to wake up around midnight, 1 or 2, with agitation, a lot of agitation, maybe agitated dreams, agitated feelings and emotions. So, those are two cautions that you may want to consider. If you drink coffee, and you may want to drink it earlier in the day so that whether you're a fast or slow metabolizer, it doesn't negatively impact the time at which you're going to go to sleep and the quality of your sleep. If you take alcohol, keep in mind that drinking alcohol, especially in the night, will lead to a rise in the aldehyde, which is a stimulant that could cause interruption in the sleep along with agitation. So I hope that that was helpful. I told you that I would talk a little bit about how we could get more fruits and vegetables into our eating plan. I'm glad you reminded me. Here are a few pointers. The first one is community support. I can speak as those who are part of this session could also confirm, that being part of a community has been very helpful in making the transition to eating the standard from eating the standard American diet to adding more fruits and vegetables. So being part of a community of people who are learning about food, learning about nutrition, learning about the role of fruits and vegetables in all areas of our lives, that will be helpful. Educating yourself, and that's the community can help with that. Educating yourself um, will also be a very important component in this process. The third pointer would be batch cooking. Now, I'm not suggesting that you cook all day Saturday and you eat the same food every day for the next 2 weeks. But batch cooking can be just as simple as putting on some rice in a rice cooker, placing it in, once it's cooled, placing it in glass containers, freezing some and having some so that your meal is half prepared once you get home. Or it could be doing a salad in a jar. And that way you can include the community and you can all get together to do that. But that's very helpful because when you get home and you may be hungry, your meal is already in the process of being prepared. And so we recommend batch cooking. You can make salads, get the greens together. You can make fruit salads, you can make vegetable salads where you cut up and use a lot of things. You put them together, you separate them into servings, and you have them easily accessible once you get home. Another tip that can be very helpful, and I know that this might take a little getting used to, but when you go to events and you go to family gatherings, take your food with you. Take something that you know you can eat and have enough so that you can share. So many people, including my mentor, Dr. Pam Popper, have spoken about taking a dish to an event because they knew that there would be nothing there that was in their higher fruit and vegetable range that wasn't covered in either oil or cheese. And a lot of people actually loved what she brought and tended to eat it out. She would take back empty containers every time. So, sharing what you eat, but at least taking with you food that you can eat. Number one, you won't be as tempted to go back to eating the way you were. And number two, you will have something that you can enjoy. And number three, you'll be able to share it with others. The next tip is be consistent. Um, a lot of people get started on this journey and they feel the pressure from naysayers and ridiculers. So just stay the course. Make one simple change at a time. And to help you do that, I'd like to introduce you to the Juice Plus line of products. Ruth mentioned that we're part of a community, the Juice Plus community. We have a narrow line of products. We have fruits and vegetables grown in pristine conditions, non-GMO. They are not picked until they're at the peak of ripeness. So they have the highest nutrient quality. And once they're picked, they're washed and they're flash frozen and crushed into powders and placed in capsules, used for the production of the soft chews, or put into sachets so that you can just add it to your water and drink. That's 30 fruits and vegetables. One of the things that we really need is to make this easy and convenient. And this is one way that you can make one simple change that will help you achieve the goal of adding more fruits and vegetables to what you eat. You can bridge the gap between whatever percentage you're getting and that 5 to 7 servings of fruits and vegetables that even the CDC admits we need. So speak to the person who invited you because they'll be able to answer some of your questions. Of course, as I said, the fruits and vegetables, there are 30 of them in the trio. We have also the omegas. You may be trying to add omegas to your body because of the health benefits. The research shows that it supports our immune function. Well, did you know omegas aren't produced by fish? So we bypassed the middle fish and went to the source, the algae and 5 other plants where omegas are produced. But we're not extracting just the omegas, they work together. Our omega blend has omega 3, 5, 6, 7, and 9, the way they occur in nature. So you know you are getting what nature intended. The complete shake also contains some fruits and vegetables. It is plant-based protein, so it doesn't have the same problems as animal protein. And of course, all of our products are tested by a third party. So they batch test it, they come in and make sure that nothing that's on the label shouldn't be there, and nothing that's in the product should not be there. In fact, our Juice Plus products are used by Olympic athletes who are tested all the time, and our products pass the test. We have 25 years of research, and this is the original powdered produce. Why not go for the best? I hope that by adding the superfood, the capsules, or the chewables, or joining our Fresh Starts for Family, where you, once you get started, can support a child from the ages of 4 through 27 for free. We help you do that at no additional cost to you. We're hoping that this will be the one simple change that makes the difference for you. Once again, this is Coach Carla Joy. If you have questions about nutrition and about sleep, I hope you put them in the chat and you'll reach out to us and you'll reach out to the person who shared this video with you so that you too can make that one simple change and make a difference in your life. Thanks again for joining us. I look forward to speaking with you again. Thank you, Ruthie. Thank you, Rev Deb, for being here with us this evening. And here's what we always say on a Friday night.
Eat more.
Eat more fruits and vegetables.
That's the way to go. Even the CDC says so. Thanks for joining us. Talk to you soon.